Hello my rosy readers and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is the Kingdom of Beauty Dream Snaps voting, and there's a few, almost like last time, there were just didn't quite impress me, but then after a couple of them we get into some really good ones that I really liked, and you're gonna see as soon as I get to those, I start doing eeny meeny miny mo, or just simply having to pick one because they're just so good that I'm like, I like both of them and I want to choose both, but I'm only allowed to choose one. So, and then there's a few I'm like, oh man, I want to go back and change it, but I kind of like the one I also picked. And so this week's selection of photos was very good. And then of course I was super excited myself because a lot of them deal with the Disney princesses. There's a few that were Hercules, but even those were amazing, and I've got nothing wrong with that. So yeah, there's some really good ones. That being said, well, this one right here. It's Gaston and Belle. What's he doing there? She should be with Beast. I mean, unless you're trying to recreate a picture for, well, but then she would be in her blue dress, not her ball gown. That one seems a little weird. Maybe it's just Gaston was photobombing when you're trying to take a picture with Belle. But yeah, this one was a pretty fun. I like seeing everyone's. Well, like I said, there were so many that I'm just like, oh, I like this one. Ooh, I like that one. Or I couldn't pick, and because they were so good. And I mean, like this one right here. You see, I'm going back and forth because I'm like, oh, Jasmine and Padme, or this other one, and it's like, which one? So I'm going to be doing a bunch of that throughout this video, and I will end it with mine. But I kind of want to talk a little bit more about story ideas and how I think this is kind of funny, because I have mentioned in a previous video that I had ideas of the 9 Disney princesses, the original 9, with the 9 Muses. And it took a little while to figure out. I mean, some of them are pretty easy. But what started this was inspired by the movie Xanadu. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's, unless if you're a film nerd, it's considered one of the worst movies of all time. I don't think it's that horrible, because I mean, unless it's one of those that's really bad that it's so good. Nah, not really. It's not really one of those that's so bad it's so good, because I will skip parts of it. I can't just sit through the whole thing. So I kind of see where they might like, oh, this is one of the worst movies of all time, but I wouldn't say it's like the most dreadful movie, because there's some good parts to it that I enjoy. Mostly the music. You can't go wrong with ELO and Olivia Newton-John. But if you just simply go look up Xanadu, or the music video, or the opening scene from Xanadu with the ELO music, I'm Alive, you'll see where this idea started to take place. Each one of the 9 muses in that opening, or basically, I mean, it's the whole movie. I mean, you're only following Terpsichore around, but those 9 made me think instantly of the 9 Disney princesses. Okay, like I said, when you take a look, you'll see exactly what I mean. It is it was exciting and kind of eerie at the same time. to see this. And so that kind of started me thinking about it. Which of the 9 muses would work with which of the 9 Disney princesses? Some were easier than others. I mean, you could probably like Terpsichore, dancing, Cinderella. That one was an easy one. Okay, or Euterpe with music. Technically, you can say they're all music, but my first thought was instantly Ariel because, you know, that was her whole stick was music. And so that makes sense for that one. Calliope is the muse of epic poetry. So think like, you know, the Odyssey. That's Belle. That one was a no-brainer to me. Maybe you could think of someone else for that, but that one was a no-brainer. Another major no-brainer was Cleo. She's the muse of history. Pocahontas. Yeah, Pocahontas is historical fiction, but, you know, what other Disney princess will work with history? So it's Pocahontas. And the ones that were starting to get a little, you know, harder to figure out was Erato, romance, technically any one of them, because they all romance. Urania, which is astronomy. You might want to think of Tiana first with the stars, but I went a different direction, and I'll explain in a moment. And then Melpomene, Thalia, Melpomene was drama. And yeah, that one, well, you might have thought of her first, but it took me a little while to try to figure this one out. Thalia is comedy, but she's also pastoral story. So, like, basically think Babe or Charlotte's Web. That would be her line of storytelling. And Polyhymnia, you know, what was it? Hymns, basically. That would be what she is. That one was also a little bit harder until I started to think about the rest of the Disney princesses that I needed to fill it up, which was Jasmine, Aurora, Mulan, Tiana, and Snow White. Snow White ended up fitting with Polyhymnia because she was the only Disney princess to ever pray in her movie. So that one kind of clicked into place fairly quickly. So which left Thalia, Melpomene, Urania, and Erato. You might have thought Tiana for Urania because of the star motive. Again, like I said, I went in a different direction because I also started thinking of something like Star Wars. Which movie will work, or which princess will work best with Star Wars? That became Jasmine. Because think about the themes of, or not just even the themes of Star Wars, but the storyline. Boy in the desert meets princess, falls in love with said princess, has a fantastical adventure. I mean, you could say that works for not just Aladdin, but Luke and Anakin as well. So I ended up doing that. Which leaves Melpomene, Thalia, and Erato. So Erato I decided to put with Sleeping Beauty. You might not think of it as a romance, but if you consider the original meaning of the word romance, it fits. Because the original romance type of stuff is more kind of along the lines of Ivanhoe, or even Lord of the Rings. An idealized past, if you will, which Sleeping Beauty would fit that, but there's also fantastical elements to it, and so that works in that aspect. And then that left Melpomene and Thalia with Mulan and Tiana. You can say I went with their first initials, but Melpomene, since it's drama, Mulan deals with war. So that one kind of started to click into place, which left Thalia with Tiana. You can say, oh, you're talking because she turned into the frog? Maybe so. It deals with animals, yes. Then could be partially, but at this point, she was the only muse left. And so Tiana was the only princess left. So Tiana, and Talia. So those are the 9 that I decided to do. What do you think of that setup? Do you think there's another way you would have done it? I mean, I'd be interested to hearing your thoughts on that. I'm keeping my version, no offense to anybody, but the way this is working out with these stories that I have in mind, then, like I said, Star Quest with Aladdin is going to be Aladdin and Star Wars together, and that's with Urania. So, yeah. Anyways, I need to end this now. We've already gone past. I had to add a few extra tidbits, so that way I could keep the length of this. But if you can see here, this is my submission for Kingdom of Beauty, and when I saw this dress that my character is wearing, I was thinking of Aurora. But you've got Aurora, Belle, and Ariel in the background, and as you can see the colors that they're wearing, that's referencing the fairies. So, but yeah, thanks so much for coming by. Let me know what you think about this idea with the Disney princesses and the Muses. The rest of the Disney princesses, and at least in the lineup, they're getting something different. So stay around for that, and I'll talk to you later.